So I just decided I can't do this anymore. Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. So one thing I have talked about a couple of times on this channel recently is my work situation, and the first video I made about that was a few months ago in July, just trying to break down the best way I could just kind of how my mindset has been and what I'm going through right now. As I said before, I've been with a company that I work for 8 years. Specifically 5 years of that time has been spent in fraud investigations. About a year ago, or let's say about 15 months ago, I moved to a separate team within fraud investigations that kind of does more of back office work, so like quality control. More recently, it's been like an auditing situation, basically directly overseeing and overlooking the work that the investigators are doing. More recently, it's been a lot harder for me without going into all the details. You guys can just watch the prior videos regarding it. However, things have been consistently getting worse, if I'm being frank. In the last 3 months of finally deciding that I was going to apply for different positions, I did finally apply for the very first position about 6 to 7 weeks ago, about 7 weeks ago. And since then, I've gotten 0 interviews. Really, no one has reached out, like in recruiting and things like that, about trying to like interview me or reach out about the position at all. Pretty much all of them I have gotten denied for, which has been very, I don't want to say humbling because I feel like I'm overall a very humble person, but I'll say it's been very discouraging, especially being in the situation that I'm in where I want out and like need out so bad. It has put me in a state of depression, and it's upsetting because you would think I wouldn't let my work situation, or I'll say I shouldn't let my work situation impact me so much outside of work, but it does, and my mental health has just continuously been on a steady decline. The most recent position I applied for was the first full week of October, and so it's very hard to get your hopes up or even feel optimistic about it when 7 of the 8 applications I've submitted, nothing has happened so far. So why would anything else happen, basically? But of course I still try to apply because that's the only way I can get out of my position that I'm in currently. I mean, I personally know my worth, and I know that my like annual reviews have been great every single year on a 5, let's say on a 5 number scale. Year after year I've gotten a 4, and that's something. It's something to be proud of ultimately. It's above average. It's more than the minimum qualifications. So with being in this company as long as I have, and feeling like I have proven myself in multiple ways as far as like what I'm capable of and things like that, I would like to move to a salary position. There's more flexibility, a little bit more freedom, and I obviously want to move up in pay as well. And with my current pay range that I'm at, I'm actually capped. Like I make the most that my pay range allows. So I definitely wanted to go up at least a couple of pay ranges. Even without all of that, I felt like I was just ready for a change altogether, and I can't say with confidence that I'm going to be able to get a different position, maybe even by the end of the year. Who knows? Like that's just my reality at this point. So what I'd like to do is hopefully just go back to being a fraud investigator. I mean, at the end of the day, that's still my job title, and that's still what I get paid to do. The work that I'm doing now, it's a lot more than just being a fraud investigator when you're overseeing other people, in my opinion. And there's been talks, like I've brought up, getting paid for really what I feel like we're worth, which is more than what we get paid. And it seems like it's an issue. It seems like it's not something that's going to happen. I'm not holding my breath. And even when I brought it up, I said I wasn't holding my breath for it. So I feel like this whole scenario has really changed me a lot as far as being younger, and this being like my first real big job with me of working here for so long. Like I've always like gone above and beyond like really what I'm required to do. I feel like this has changed me because it makes me want to more so only do what's required of me, or just ask those hard questions. Like when I'm asked to do more than what I'm supposed to do or what I'm required to do, ask them like, hey, is this required? Do I have to do this? Like without being insubordinate, of course, but it just makes me want to be, in a way, a little bit more selfish as far as just doing like only what I'm required to do. A lot of times upper management could ask you to do something, but really in the end, the person that's really benefiting is them. Like with me having about 15 months ago being asked to do what's called like an acting manager role, which means that you're not actually a manager, you're not getting paid to be a manager, but you do all the manager role, all of the manager duties. And they say, well, if you don't like it, you can always go back to doing what you were doing before. But really, I feel like if I was ever asked to do something like that again, I would just say no, because I'm not getting paid to do these things. I'm managing people, but I'm not getting paid to do that. It feels like in the end, who's really benefiting from that is other managers or higher managers who needs an extra manager or 2 extra managers or 3, but they're not officially changing your job title or paying you for that and things like that. That's just an example. I know I have a lot of knowledge in my current department. That's just the reality of it. And sometimes they'll have you do extra stuff like, you know, maybe helping to train other people. It makes me feel bad because I am a helpful person and I want to help people, and it would really upset me to like tell somebody, it wouldn't upset me, but it would hurt me maybe a little to just like tell them no and just say no. I just want to do whatever I'm required to do. But I just feel like that's the point where I'm at, where places don't really appreciate you really as they should. And that can end up going on and on for years if you let it. I'm really just at the end of the day an agent who, and that's what I get paid to be. People can start to take advantage of you and it can just go on for a very long time, basically. So that's what I'm hoping to do. I'm gonna bring it up, and closed mouths don't get fed at the end of the day. If you want something, you have to ask for it. So that's going to be my next conversation with the one-on-one with my manager, is to ask to go back to being an agent rather than what I'm doing now. Because what I'm doing now, I'm beyond burnt out. Like it's past that point. At this point, it's just like, I just can't even stand to continue. It's very frustrating, especially when you oversee people who have a lot of opportunities and then their managers then want to, instead of holding them accountable, they want to fight the things that you say are their opportunities. So it's so many levels. I just feel myself getting frustrated, like with every little thing that happens similar to that. I just have to do something that's going to make me happy at this point. I know I had posted on the community tab of our channel about a former manager that I had that passed away, unfortunately. She was my manager 2 to 3 years ago during that time frame. And I went to the service and the gathering and everything for them. And it's really sad that sometimes death can put things into perspective for you. But I feel like during that time, like being there and being around like her family and then like her kids and loved ones, just everyone that was there for her, it just really put things into perspective. And it really opened my eyes to life is short, and am I really like making good use of my time that I do have on this earth if I'm like not happy, basically. If I'm doing something and every single day I'm like so upset and I'm just like so drained, exhausted, depressed, like is that really making good use of my time? Basically, I want to do anything in my power to like just at least be satisfied and just be happy and just feel like productive and fulfilled. Like we spend so much time at work every week, so to spend that time and just know like I'm just so upset with my position or situation that I'm in, I don't want to continue that. I want to be as happy as possible, basically. Obviously, I really want to pay off this house like within our time frame that we have, which is 2025. It's a very extreme goal, and when you first set out goals like that, you definitely hope that nothing gets in your way of getting to that goal and getting it accomplished or getting it completed. But sometimes things happen, whether that's like physical illness or something that could just be unfortunate, a job loss, income loss. Thankfully, none of that has happened, but the thing I really struggle with as far as feeling like the one thing that's stepping in my way being my mental health. Like, I understand for other people, but it's hard for me to like give myself that excuse, because I really just want to tell myself, like, Seneca, just suck it up and just do what you need to do to make the extra money, and at least until we can pay off the house. So it's really, really hard, because I know that mental health is that. It's just like something mental, something that I feel like I should be able to control sometimes, but I truly cannot. I know that I can't keep living like this at the end of the day. I wish that I really had that control over myself and I could just be positive about my situation. Some days when I clock into work, I'm like, okay, this week is going to be good. I'm going to be positive. I'm just going to get through it. I'm not going to complain. But then I end up crying like on my lunch break or something. It's just easier said than done at the end of the day. So yesterday I was doing overtime, and I have been doing 10 hours of overtime so that way I can have that every paycheck. A couple of times I did 15, but I was just like trying to do overtime yesterday and I literally just couldn't. I'm just like, I have zero joy in this job I'm doing. I'm not fulfilled at all. I don't like what I'm doing. I'm so over it. I want nothing to do with it, just on so many different levels. Just decisions that are made. Like, I feel like sometimes things are just jeopardizing my integrity. That happens a lot. And I just feel like I have to like advocate for things that I just feel like I shouldn't have to advocate for. And it's tiring. It's exhausting. It really is exhausting. And I only have so much control because of the level I'm at. And then even my own manager, it seems like, has only so much control. And it's just like, at what level do I have to get to really, for things to be done the way they should be? So I just decided I can't do this anymore. I was going to do 3 hours yesterday, and at like an hour and a half in, I'm like, I don't want to do this. I can't do this. I'm so done with this. Like, so I did 2 hours and I left it at that. And I texted Dennis and I said, I can't do this anymore. Can't do this. It's hard enough to get to 40 hours. So me putting more time in, I can't do it anymore. Like, I'm just done. So if it was up to me, I feel like that's another way that this whole experience has changed me, because I don't want to do overtime like ever again right now is how I feel. I don't want to put extra work in anymore. I just want to do what's required of me, make a healthy amount of money, and just leave it at that. So like we've said before, Dennis has, he's an LPN. They're only required to work 3 days a week. So he has a job that he can pick up shifts, like a second job that he doesn't work at consistently but can pick up shifts. They haven't had much for him to pick up, so I really couldn't even tell you the last time he picked up a shift. It could have been like 2 months ago probably. So he is exploring other opportunities to pick up shifts through another service. Hopefully that's what can be done. If he could just pick up like twice a month, that would actually completely satisfy the amount of money that I was making doing overtime in a month. So that's our plan moving forward. Not doing the extra amount of overtime I needed to do, which actually I needed to do an extra 4 hours. Not doing that leaves us maybe $170 short of what we needed for this upcoming paycheck. So worst case scenario, we're probably just not going to save as much money. If you've been around for a while, our plan at the beginning of the year was to save $325 a month towards our emergency fund, trying to bulk that up so we could save an additional $4,000 for the entire year. We were exactly on track at this point, but we might have to take from that with this paycheck coming up at the end of the month, and then throughout the rest of the year, we just might not be able to get done. Worst case scenario, if we can't bring in the income we need, we're just gonna have to cut things someplace else, because I obviously really want to pay off this house still. I don't want to have us not be on track anymore and fall behind like with our goals or anything like that. So worst case scenario, that is what we'll end up doing, just saving less money. We are still grateful and satisfied with the amount that we have in savings. So right now that's just gonna have to be our goal. If that means sacrificing extra income, so be it. Worst case scenario, I can go back to doing like Uber Eats and DoorDash and feeling less compromised. I know that I can still keep looking for other positions, and also this whole time I was just holding out because I'm like, well, I'm just gonna get a new position. Hopefully I'll get a new position and I won't have to worry about it, but I can't guarantee that's gonna happen at this point. And worst case scenario, I can go back to just being a regular agent and continue applying for other positions during that time. Hopefully I can still end up getting a new position. Fingers crossed, but if I can't, I know that I would just be happier completely being responsible for myself and not having other people's ability to do their job directly impact the decisions that I have to make every day. So this is a part of the whole journey. I hopefully cannot wait to look back on this video and remember that this was a part of the journey and it was something that I ultimately overcame. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in our next video.